I think I'm really self-sufficient. I dress myself, tie my own shoelaces, wipe my own ass. I think is that I don't really need a man, I just want one.
Today I realized that I don't need no man.
We can see on social media many strong, free and independent women. But are there really?
She don't want to be a strong black woman.
No.
I don't want to be super mom.
No.
We need help.
They lied to us.
Help.
Miss Independent. Well, who that? Who?
We are going to uncover the insidious manipulation of our modern society on women through feminism. We will talk about the torches of freedom, not the one at the top of the statue, but the ones you have at the end of your mouth, the cigarette. I will explain to you how financial capitalism made women smoke, or in general, how financial capitalism using propaganda managed to use women's rights and feminism to achieve its goals. I will reveal the secret of this mass manipulation and the identity of the men behind this operation. The best example to illustrate this strategy is that of Lucky Strike cigarettes. The cigarette brand realized that it did not have access to 50% of its customer base, women, and it was absolutely necessary to make them smoke. But how? In a conservative society, a society of the 1920s where women didn't even have the right to vote, how could they make cigarettes socially acceptable? This is where Lucky Strike strikes, with the help of Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who was renowned as a great specialist in propaganda and public relations. Edward Bernays wrote a book titled Propaganda. I will share with you one of the main ideas of this book. The conscious, intelligent manipulation of the organized opinions and habits of the masses plays an important role in democratic society. Those who manipulate this imperceptible social mechanism form an invisible government that truly controls the country. Modern propaganda refers to a coherent and long-term effort to stimulate or sway events in order to influence the relationship of the general public with a company, an idea, or a group. Propaganda will never cease to exist. Intellectual minds must understand that it offers them the modern tool they must seize for productive purposes to create order out of chaos. Edward Bernays was convinced that people should not be left with their free will, but rather guided and manipulated so they react and behave as desired, either by those in power or by big capital. He firmly believed that absolute freedom did not exist and that it was necessary to manipulate and steer the masses. I recommend everyone to read this book, Propaganda. Edward Bernays is a genius because he understood that he couldn't impose women to smoke. He couldn't impose it on public opinion, which was still extremely conservative at the time. And so, this cigarette has to become a symbol of freedom, a symbol of women's emancipation. It was the only way for women to smoke. A rather effective and evil plan was put in place. One that spoke to the brains of the masses and the female masses. In 1929, for the Easter parade, Bernays hired a model to parade in highly publicized processions. Each one had a cigarette in one hand and a sign that read "Torches of Liberty" in the other. The idea was planted: women who smoke are independent and modern. Lucky Strike experienced a big success and granted women an increasingly prominent role in its advertisements. Women become pinups, a pure symbol of non-verbal provocation. The pinup is a free woman who dares, who embraces herself, and who smokes if she desires. And that's how the cigarette transitioned from a completely taboo product to a symbol of freedom, the torch of liberty. Women around the world began to see the cigarette as a sign of emancipation. It is the free woman who smokes. Look at us, New Yorkers, who proudly held up that cigarette, that torch of liberty, to emancipate us, women. And as a result, of course, Lucky Strike sales skyrocket and even double because Lucky Strike achieved the incredible feat of getting the 50% of the population who didn't smoke yet, women, to start smoking. And today no one questions it. Several years later, almost a century later, women still smoke as a sign of freedom. A woman who smokes is an emancipated woman. Women proudly wield the cigarette as a symbol of liberty, of democracy. But no woman thinks about the fact that there was once a little pervert in her office, Edward Bernays, the nephew of another pervert, Sigmund Freud, who concocted all of this on paper and prepared us to smoke. And Edward Bernays' intelligence lies in understanding that you can't impose anything on the masses. You mustn't impose it on them, but you must program them. You must convince the masses that they are buying off their own free will. Does it remind you of something? Today women think they are being strong and independent by sleeping around, have great careers, but it's all a deception.
Getting an education and working on my career or pursuing my hobbies are undesirable to some men.
A traditional stay-at-home wife is not good for their businesses. It's better to have strong, independent women to collect more taxes. Feminism is a tool of manipulation.
I just paid 3 bills just now with my own debit card. Like the independent black woman I don't want to be.
They have been manipulated for a century.
We need help.
They lied to us.
Help.
Nobody will say, it's all these advertisements, it's all this unconscious, subconscious bombardment of advertising that put all this in my head. In reality, you have been programmed.
Sienna, have you got a boyfriend?
No, I don't need a man.
I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you, I got this ring.
All of that has been unconsciously programmed into you through constant advertising. Advertising that is everywhere. So Western society have the conviction of being free.
I've done really well for myself in my career. It seems to be something that is like desired. And then also the guy I was dating, it just, I guess, didn't work.
So fucking tired of being the strong, independent, resilient one all the time. It's fucking exhausting.
The Westerner condition has the impression of being free, just like all the women who smoke who have the impression of being free, but they don't realize that in reality, it's Edward Bernays who put the leash around their necks and has held them for over a century. They do not realize that it was this little pervert who wrote this diabolical plan on a piece of paper paid for by Lucky Strike, the cigarette brand, and brought the women to their knees to smoke. They don't realize that the cigarette is not a sign of emancipation, but a sign of submission to Edward Bernays and Lucky Strike. Sucking on the torch of liberty is not being free. Edward Bernays must have laughed for hours, weeks, months, years, thinking, I am a genius. To all the feminists who proudly wield the cigarette, ladies, understand that it's not the torch of liberty you have in your mouth, but the phallus of Edward Bernays. If you enjoy this content and want to become free and in control of your life, I recommend subscribing to my newsletter to receive information about how the world works, marketing, and psychology. Click the first link in the description to receive the next email. Please share and like this video. Stay sharp, stay lucid, and keep control of your life. See you in the next video.